plot the points B, A, and M and connect them to form triangle BAM. Okay. Okay, so I have carefully and with some degree of reverence plotted point B at 4, 4, A at negative 0, or 0 rather, negative 4, and M at negative 6, comma 4. And I have connected those points to create triangle BAM. Here we go. So next, determine the midpoint of segment AB. Okay, segment AB. It looks like it's at 0, 2, right? Based on this diagram, I'm like, if I do this right, it's got a rise of 1, 2, 3, 4, and then over 2. 1, 2, 3, 4 over 2. So yeah, I'm completely confident that and that the midpoint of that triangle is at 2, comma 0. I'm supposed to put a dot there and label that point D. So the other way that I can get that, and it wasn't necessary this time, was if I look at the x coordinates 0 and 4, if I add 0 plus 4, I have 4, and half of that gives me 2, okay? And then if I do the same thing for my y coordinates, negative 4 and positive 4, negative 4 plus positive 4 is 0, and half of 0 is 0. So that's the averaging way to get the coordinates of the midpoint. So, okay, I've got the coordinates of the midpoint and it is labeled D. Next, write the equation of the line through points D and M. Okay. Okay, so I want to come up with the equation of the line that goes through points D and M. Now, point D was at, we said x was 2, and y is at 0. So I want the equation of the line that goes through those. For visual reference only, I'm going to go ahead and put a little dot here. This is the equation that I'm asked to find. And it looks like the slope of that line, if I'm just going to count it, and why not? This looks like an easy enough problem. It's down 1, 2, 3, 4. So I've got a rise of negative 4 and a run of 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So if I look at that slope pattern, right, it was down 4 over 8, which looks like negative 1 half. So my slope is negative 1 half. And the other thing that it looks like my y-intercept is at 0, 1. It looks like it's at 1, but I'm going to check that algebraically because I don't want to fall for that if it's not. So I have this point at negative 6, comma 4, and I have a slope of negative 1 half. That's my slope value. So I can put these in the point slope form of a linear equation, right? I can write y minus the y from my point, right? Y minus the y that I know. This is the y value that I know. This is the x value. Equals my slope times the quantity of x minus the x value that I know. If I simplify this, it's y minus 4 equals negative 1 half times x plus 6. X plus 6. If I distribute the 1 half, it's going to be negative 1 half x and then minus the number 3, right? Negative 1 half times 6 is going to be negative 3. And over here, that's y minus 4. And then finally, if I add 4 to both sides, y is negative 1 half x plus the 1. So yeah, my y-intercept was at 1. It was at the number 1. That's great. So my equation here is y is equal to negative 1 half times x and then plus 1. And then next it says, is DM a height of triangle ABC? Is DM a height? So one thing about triangles, right? Not all the sides of a triangle are heights of the triangle. The only time you have a height is if the base it's connecting to is making a right angle, right? So in a triangle, if I have this triangle, I could call this a height, right? Because that value and this are forming a right angle. So this could be a base and this could be a height. But in the very same triangle, right? The very same triangle, this could be the base, and then if that was the base, then this would be the height. So the important thing is that bases and heights in triangle have to form right angles. So what I'm being asked here is, do line segment DM and AB form a right angle, right? I'll put it here in purple, but this is an open question. Is that a right angle? Well, it certainly looks like it. And I can verify that by considering the slope. So I already kind of looked at the slope before. From D to B, the slope is 1, 2, 3, 4 over 2. So up 4 over 2, which is positive 2, right? And for the other one, we said our slope was down. I'll use, what's a color I haven't used? I will use, I already used this blue, I'll use it again. It was down 1, 2, 3, 4, and then over 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. And I wrote that right here. This thing has a slope of negative 1/2. Well, if I consider those two values together, guess what I have? Because these two slopes are opposite and reciprocals, I know that these lines are forming a right angle. So my answer here would be, because these slopes are opposite in sign, right? Well, this one's negative and this one's positive, and because they're reciprocals, it has to be the case that these lines are perpendicular. So the answer that I wrote down is, because DM is perpendicular to AB, because DM is perpendicular to AB, and the reason is because they have opposite and reciprocal slopes, it forms a right angle. A right angle. I should have the word angle here. Angle. And so it is a height, right? It is a height of the triangle.